you have a unique point of view because first of all, you keep traveling in the most crazy countries, in both emerging, mature, all over Europe, Middle East, Asia, wherever. I've met you in half of the countries of this planet, so you have this very unique point of view. It's your what, second time, third time here in Beirut?
Sixth, I think.
Sixth. Wow. So.
I know. I'm a veteran.
So as a veteran, let me ask you that. As a veteran, has it changed? Do you see it growing? Do you see it maturing? Do you see the entrepreneurs changing?
Yeah, I mean, look, this is a fantastic event, fantastic conference, and so many, new things happening. What was actually, I think, what's going on right now, I think, is that gradually entrepreneurs are no longer building just for their region, just for their country, right? They're building either for like a decent big region like MENA or international. And so a lot of entrepreneurs have woken up to the fact that if you go for international scale first, then that puts you immediately on the same level playing field as Silicon Valley, right? That means also that investors are far more attracted to you because the opportunity is bigger as well. Investors are, annoying, of course, we know. Tedious, ask stupid questions like, will it scale? Things like that. And they'll just ask them over and over and over again until you want to kill them. But that's their business, right? So if you want an investor to be interested and excited about the proposition, then they want you to go after a big, hefty market. So you look at startups coming out of developing markets like the MENA region or out of Beirut or whatever, then that means not just going after I want to go after Hamra. Hamra's a big market. No, it's not. When I see an entrepreneur saying, we've got 50 restaurants in Bratislava signed up to our app. You go, great, good for you. Where is Bratislava? No, I'm kidding. I love Bratislava. I've been there. Slovakia, you should all go. It's lovely. But let's be honest and let's go for a big market.
But don't you think people are still a bit wary of, not the MENA region, but some of the countries in the region, especially like you said, investors, they might be annoying, but they might be like, oh, I'm not sure I really want to go there. I'm not talking about the local investors. I'm obviously talking about international investors. What do you think makes this country more appealing? And Circular 331, the fact that it is, go ahead.
Look, forget about, Circular 331 is useful. I think it's not, as far as I can tell, it's not unlocking the capital that it was supposed to unlock yet. And there should be much more coming out of it. And I think that if I would say anything to Banque du Liban is, guys, you're amazing. Thank you for supporting this. But let's unlock more capital. Let's unlock the capital faster and in a better way. You can't just, banks are naturally risk averse. That's okay. I don't really want my bank to be super risky. It's got my money, okay? Let's give it to the VCs and the investors who know what they're doing. Well, hopefully, and let's give it to the entrepreneurs. Let's give it to groups of people who know about technology because we're in a technology industry to do the right investing. To the entrepreneurs who I say, let's get, or to the investors who appear to be afraid of MENA or, well, A, you're stupid, you should come here anyway. And, Warren Buffett, the famous American investor, says, when everyone's running for the doors, that's when I go in, right? And that's absolutely correct. But the other issue is that as an entrepreneur where capital is hard to come by, you just got to do what I do and get on a plane, and make your case to international entrepreneurs. Now, that might mean that you might have to move or you might have to split your team, but this is the kind of reality of the world we're living in. A lot of entrepreneurs now are splitting their teams. They're going, this happens in London. So even London's not that fantastically amazing for capital compared to the Valley or etc. But so they do split their teams. They keep their engineers wherever their engineers are. Engineers are funny people, aren't they? They're lovely. you know, you go, do you want to come to move to London with me? No, I like it where I am. You know, what about all the exciting things you could do? I just like to code. I just want to code. And they're just like super lovely people, but they won't move, right? So you got to keep your team where they're happy, and you got to do business development, and you've got to do sales, business development, and raising capital in markets that not necessarily where you live, right? That's the reality of the globalized industry that we live in.
One remark, there's been VC funds that have been opened since the circular, and I'm not here the mouthpiece of the Banque du Liban, I'm just saying that they are also this way, but maybe...
No, I mean, all of this is fantastic ecosystem building. That's exactly what they should be doing. It's exactly the right strategy. Build ecosystems, get everybody in the same room, so they start, you know, talking to each other, sharing ideas. Super, super cool. I'm totally not criticizing them for that at all.
No, I know. I was not assuming you were.
I'm saying that, you know, but, you know, there's more that can be done. We're starting from a fantastic base. Let's keep going.
I know you've seen that a lot because some of the travels we've done together, you go to a place that's not here in Lebanon, and you have the government or any public entity comes, we want to be the next Silicon Valley. Everybody wants to be the next Silicon Valley. So
no. Don't be
it's a marketing thing, you know. It's like, you know, government like to say, oh, we're doing something, right? But don't you think, I mean, first of all, let's not do this. I think Dave McClure says it's more than enough. It's a state of mind. It shouldn't be a place. But still, isn't there a case that, you know what, it's good to have, if it's a nascent ecosystem, and it's only for early stage, it's fine at the beginning. If they can move to the Silicon Valley later, I know, is it a model that is possible? Are there other models that you like to see happening? Meaning?
Well, look, I mean, it's completely nonsensical to compare anywhere in the world to Silicon Valley. They have a 50-year head start. These people invented the atom bomb, for heaven's sake. You know, it was a long time ago. So, but they, you know, they have a lot, you know, Fairchild Semiconductors in the 1950s. So they have a long history. Absolutely no point in comparing yourself to that. What you compare yourself to is how are we doing against Cairo or Dubai or London or Berlin, or, you know, these are the kinds of questions that are more useful. And what's working that they do, and how can we import some of those ideas? And if we don't import it, what do we do ourselves? Now, you're going to hear a fantastic panel soon from people like Liz Fleming, from South Summit, and many other people. Josephine Goeb, who works at Migrate, and a great panel on building ecosystems. So I'm not going to preempt what they say. You should listen to them, because they do build ecosystems. But just the top line answers are that the simplest thing to say is, rely on the entrepreneurs. Ecosystems need to be led by entrepreneurs. If they're led by someone who does events, and then there's no entrepreneurs and no startups, then nothing will happen. There won't be an ecosystem because nobody does any startups. People are going around getting drunk at events and not doing any work. That sounds a bit like me. But I'm supposed to do that. It's all about information. But, you know, you've got to build a company at the end of the day, right? You've got to get startups. And that's the interesting thing, actually. A lot of government or bodies, you know, I get approached by the EU Commission and say, you know, can you come to this conference and to speak here? And I say, yeah, okay, but where are the startups? And they go, nothing. And that's what you want to go after. Where are the startups? Where are the companies? That's what the media is going to cover. The media wants to cover success. They want to cover raising money. They want to cover the story, whether it be success or failure, whatever it is. That's what they want to cover. So in order to like spin up the ecosystems and to get things going, that's when you're going to get, you concentrate on the startups themselves and the entrepreneurs. You know, it's such a tough, you know, I really, really respect entrepreneurs because it's such a tough game. It's going to be so many tough hurdles on the way. Things are going to go wrong, massively go wrong. Things are going to, you know, and things are going to go right, but, you know, it's a big highs and lows. But you have to support the entrepreneur, and that's because that's the heart of the ecosystem, right? So everything that goes into the ecosystem has to be directed straight at the entrepreneur. Money, capital, talent, events, and entrepreneurs, and obviously the people who actually make the technology, the developers. There should be developer meetups, engineer meetups, coding schools, and what governments and event organizations could need to concentrate on are wonderful events like this, but also schools, education, broadband. How's the broadband doing here, by the way? I had a few words to say about that. Exactly, I heard the word
my
shit.
LTE works very well.
It's terrible, and exactly, right? And that's another thing that we need to do. The internet is the water of life, isn't it? As it were, in religious terms almost. And, if we don't have good internet, we ain't going to get internet companies. So whoever is organizing the internet out there, I had a few words to say to you, Mr. Minister, pull your finger out of your ass and get the broadband sorted out, okay?
One last question. I'm going to switch subject because then we have to move on to the next panel you just mentioned. So I'm a son of, both my parents are children of displaced families, call them refugees, call them migrants. And, since we're on the region, I wanted to just listen to you. You launched something called Tech Fugees. We also mentioned Josephine. She'll be on the next panel about migrators. Just wanted 2 words about what Tech Fugees is. I think it's an important thing.
So I was walking along a London street a few weeks ago and just was really frustrated. There didn't seem to be any kind of technology community response to the refugee crisis. And I just kind of came up with this stupid name called Tech Fugees. But it stuck in my head and it wouldn't go away. And I just went home and started a Facebook group called Tech Fugees, like refugees, but with tech at the beginning, and sent out 50 invites to my friends. And in the morning, there was 150 members. And the day 2, there were 300. And day 4, there was 700. And then now we've got 2,000 members. Sort of a week later, I thought, oh, God, everybody else is thinking the same thing I am, that how can we bring technology to the refugee crisis? How can we map it? What data can we do? What apps can we build that might help people, get around, get information, document human rights abuses, find their family, find their children, these kinds of things. It's not 1945. It's not a crisis in the same way. We can use technology to our advantage. People have even the most basic phones are pretty powerful these days. So that's what I wanted to do. And it turned out a lot of other people wanted to do it with me as well. So we did a Tech Fugees conference. I formed a cool, tiny little crack A-team. We did a conference. We got the NGOs to come, and then we did a hackathon. Then suddenly it took off, and everybody else was doing. There were lots of Tech Fugees events all over the place. Like there was one in Warsaw, Oslo. We've just had one in Australia. We're putting a team in New York because lots of technologists want to interface with the refugee agencies and with refugees themselves, bring the power of technology to the crisis and to the whole problem because it's a big deal. And let's go, and it turns out lots of people are doing that. So I'm amazed. We're going to be forming a non-profit. We're going to get some big corporates to back it, and we're just going to keep rolling and rolling because it's not going away. There are 250 million refugees on the planet today. The average time spent in a refugee camp is 17 years, right? So with everything that's going on in the Middle East right now, we know it's a big problem. Obviously, so let's bring what we can bring to the subject. I'm not going to be pushing stuff out of the Hercules transport planes. I can't do that, but I do know how to bring people together in the technology world. So let's do that.
Thank you for doing this. Thank you, Mike.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.